Cheers to everyone for watching. My name is Mitchell. You're watching the Stereo Picture Society. This is a channel where I review Canadian albums. And today we're going to be reviewing Faux Lives' new album. Faux Lives sings the Beatles, 1967 to 1970. Faux Lives is this guy named Whitman, who's from Halifax. He's been putting up a lot of albums over the last few months on Bandcamp. A couple of Fridays ago, when I was avidly hunting for new Canadian music, I was going through a whole bunch of Canadian labels, and not one label had put out an album on that Friday. So after admitting defeat on the Canadian label hunt, I turned to Bandcamp, and what do I see but Jared's album? This is an album that's recorded live to cassette tape from a boombox. And I really have a soft spot for these kind of albums. I really love the Mountain Goats. I really love old field recordings, old blues recordings from the 1930s. I'm a big fan of Mount Erie. I'm also a big fan of recording live to tape. I myself had done that for my own album, Winter Breath. Check it out. Shameless self-promotion right there. What Jared decided to do was go on a vacation for 5 days with his family and sit at a piano or have a guitar in his lap and belt out like 2 hours worth of Beatles music. It's evident that a lot of these songs are his first run through, as we can tell from the first track, Strawberry Fields Forever. We see him pausing at the piano a lot to find the next chord that he's going to play. This habit carries on throughout much of the tracks here. Some of the tracks come off as a really good take, such as Octopus's Garden, Penny Lane, A Day in the Life was pretty good, and Jared's definitely not shy to use his upper register or his falsetto voice. We hear this on Hey Jude, where he sings the upper melody pretty good. This album's mostly about creating a mood and enjoying the kind of charm that it brings. I'll be the first to say that this album was not for everybody. Even after 3/4 of the way through, I was thinking of admitting defeat. But I thought this record would be interesting to talk about for a few reasons. Number one, if you're someone who seems like a hobbyist, like Jared is to me, who knows, somebody like me will be putting out your record to a mass audience. So I don't know, have that in mind for when you record stuff. Number two is that something like this album can create a conversation between what can be considered music versus its performance of it. Because obviously Jared could have done another performance of a song if he wanted to, he just didn't. And I was going through this lo-fi, raw album thinking to myself that everything that I was going to be hearing was considered intentional in part of the performance. I think in order to preserve that mentality of something new, something your own, but still having nice performances on it, I would have cut the album list off. But I think that Jared was really intent on covering every single song off of the Blue Album, which he did successfully, but would I give this a whole listen again, all 2 hours of it? Probably not. I would at least cut it to an hour or 40 minutes and take the best tracks off of this and put that onto that 40 minutes. But yet another reason why this is interesting is because this is Jared's intent. He probably didn't expect a guy like me or anybody else to be reviewing his album. He put it on Bandcamp, he put it on a whim, he put it out without no promotion. And so why would he listen to me to say, hey, cut it down to 40 minutes. I'll also add that if you're a singer or an artist or a songwriter, that this is a great exercise to do if you're looking to learn new music really quickly. Just doing something like this and not attaching any promotion to it, maybe doing it under a different name, is a great exercise for you to do to maybe create more inspiring work. And the last interesting thing I feel is that this can start more conversation about what it means to be raw in music, what it means to create lo-fi music. Because for me, coming from a lo-fi background of songwriting, I feel the ultimate form of lo-fi music is creating stuff straight to tape without much changes in the original recording. You can tell immediately what format it's recorded on, whether it's a voice memo or a tape reel-to-reel in the 1930s or a tape cassette on a boombox. And just because a performance is raw doesn't mean that it's necessarily unenjoyable or not good. To say something's raw is subjective. But in this case, examining Jared's music, this is definitely as raw as you can get. Doing stuff on the first take, doing it on the cassette, you know what I mean. All this being said, I did enjoy what Jared had to put out there. I like how he was putting stuff out in the moment. I like the spontaneity that I had when I decided to listen to this album and review it. And I also like how sometimes on this album it put me on edge. I think it's interesting that recordings and music can still do that. So I'm going to give Jared a solid on this one. Congratulations, mate. I enjoyed your album. Cheers. I know you didn't expect to be seeing a video about your work, but I hope you enjoyed it. Out of my handy dandy enjoyment chart, I'm going to give you a solid happy face, slightly leaning to the blah, but happy face regardless. And if you liked this video, check out some of Jared's stuff. I'll list a couple of my favorite songs from the project below if you want to take a sample of it. And if you liked me rambling on for a few minutes about music, be sure to like and share and subscribe. My name is Mitchell. Be here, be queer, please. Stay strong and listen on. Cheers again for watching. Bye-bye.